welcome back to Quick Concepts. Today we're going to be talking about complex numbers. So complex numbers are any number that has an I in it. So a couple rules with complex numbers. First of all, when two i's are together, it's a -1. And if you have a negative under a radical, to get rid of the negative, you can bring it out with an I. So this I stands for imaginary number because there's really no square root of a negative number, but it allows us to carry it out as if there could be, if it's an imaginary. And you'll get into imaginary numbers more so when you're dealing with polar coordinates. But for now, we're just going to concentrate on a few of these problems to make sure you remember this from Algebra 2. So we'll start with this one. The first thing I'm going to do is just reduce down my negatives under the radical to bring the I out. So this came down to there. So once we're here, we can go ahead and multiply. This is going to be radical 12. Actually, that just becomes a 2, so why would I even go there? So this is radical 3i times 2 plus 3 radical 2i times 3i. So this becomes 2 radical 3i plus 9 radical 2ii. Keep in mind that that becomes a -1. So our final answer is going to be 2 radical 3i minus 9 radical 2. And usually when dealing with people other than me, they want the I to come second. I don't really care either way, but if you get up into college, different professors are going to want that I coming second because it usually comes second in the complex number of a polar form equation. All right, let's try another one. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is just group my i's together. You could probably do this in your head, but this way people really understand where I'm coming up with the numbers I'm coming up with, whether they're positive or negative. So this is -1 plus 2 times -1 times -1 times I plus 3, -1 times I plus 2 times -1. So this is going to be cancel out essentially and just be a 3. This will cancel out these negatives and it would be 2i. This one actually keeps the negative. And this one keeps the negative. So now we're just going to combine our numbers and our i's. So 3 minus 2 is 1, and 2i minus 3i is -i. And that is the answer there. And I think that's about it we're going to do for those. They get a little bit more complicated when we get into conjugates, but I'll do another video on conjugates.